Board. Coming at you live from separate areas because I didn't want to drive all the way out to Pasadena today. This is Blue Heaven pregame. I don't have my board. It's over there. He has it. Man, what's going on? Mr. Me 3. How's South Pass today?
It's nice and bright and sunshiny and ready for some Dodger baseball. Dodger playoff baseball.
Sweet. I think that's ideal. You guys let us know if you're hearing Double Brook. If you are, I might not know how to fix that. If you guys are you guys of course you're watching because I'm not. Where this isn't going to be a podcast. This most likely won't go up on our iTunes and all the other spots. But let's dig into some comments real quick. Go for it, Mr. Me 3. Lead us off, brother.
Yes, sir. We got people checking in from all over. Guys, make sure we are live, even though this isn't going anywhere. Make sure you guys drop into the comments. Let us know where you're watching your playoff Dodgers today. We got Hatfield over on Facebook. Hatfield always the first one on. Hatfield, we appreciate you. He says, hiya, gents. Hiya, Hatfield.
It's gonna be right.
Ryan over on Facebook says, what's up, Doug and Blue Heaven Podcast from El Paso. We got a couple Texas fans, and I enjoy that a lot. I got to tell you guys, that brings a lot of joy to me as an anti-Astros man. Danny over on Periscope checking in on our sound says, sounds good over here. Thank you, Danny. We appreciate that because we don't know how it sounds. We don't get to hear it from your guys' end.
We got Robert on Facebook saying, let's go Doyers. Mira, sas, because I'm closer to Pico than I usually am when we're doing the show together. Base Lord did not know we were going on live today. I put it all over the internet, man. Somebody isn't following us.
We didn't know we were going live either.
Well, thankfully, Base Lord does say, I'm ready, baby. And Kate's in the stream. Our friend Kate. How you doing, Kate? We got Dick Hooker, Mr. Richard Hooker, Lancaster 661. We got Danny from Gardena. Robert's in Portland, by the way. We got Rocketeer Chris 805. We got Sacktown. Dodgers Nation representing well. If I had the board, I'd give you all the clap, but I do not have the board.
No clap today. That's unfortunate for you guys. You don't get any of the clap. All right, so we're kicking off a series, obviously, against the Milwaukee Brewers. We got to talk about it a little bit, right? This is a pregame show, so we kind of got to talk about the Brewers who we're playing. There's some things to note going into this series. There's obviously the lineups and the rosters and all the things that go along with it. There's the notable absences from the roster. Are we calling them that? But the Dodgers come in with a 43-17 record, easily the best their team in all of baseball, against a losing record, which does that leave you feeling uncomfortable?
Like the guy, BJ what's his name, McGroat, Scroats McGroat.
The Groat.
Yeah, nice guy. I just don't remember his name. First time I met him, but like he said, I don't like teams backing their way into the playoffs. I can only imagine how other teams would feel with that, especially. No, I don't like it, but it is what it is, I guess.
I feel very bad about it. I don't like it at all. It bothers me. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't like the fact, this is a bad time to talk about this, but I really don't like the fact that the Astros managed to sneak their way into the next round with a losing record, by the way. Poor Twinkies, man. They just cannot get the job done. They just can't do it.
18 losses in a row. Well, today we got our roster. We got our 28-man roster, and I don't know. There's either surprises or not surprises, kind of. So I'm going to throw it up here on the screen. What was your first thought, or your first breakdown looking at this roster? Everybody in the audience, and first going to you, Brooke.
Well, I really like the 3-catcher thing. I know that Dave Roberts talked about doing it probably more in the 5-game or 7-game series, but it gives you the opportunity. We know Austin Barnes is going to catch Clayton Kershaw. That's a guarantee at this point. There's no way around it. We all know it. He knows it. Yeah. But the fact that you still get to have Will Smith's bat in the lineup when Austin Barnes is catching is just perfect. It's primo. Don't expect to see Keibert at all, I would say, unless there's like something bad that happens, which you almost really hope to not see him at all. But he's more there in case somebody gets hurt during game 2 when Austin Barnes is catching. I'm indifferent about the Terrence Gore move being added on. I think in a 3-game series, you don't need as deep of a bench. You also don't need as deep of a bullpen, so you can kind of waste some space with a guy that can provide speed and hopefully score a difference-making run. So I don't hate it. I don't love it. I don't really feel anything about it in particular. I like the fact, as you have predicted, I got to give you credit here, that they did, in fact, keep Gavin Lux off of the wild card roster. I thought that was a good move.
He didn't earn it. They gave him ample opportunity to learn it. To earn it. He didn't get that spot. A little bit of a shocker that they used that spot for somebody like Gore or maybe Matt Beatty, who hasn't been on the roster for a few weeks. I know both you and I are big fans of it because, one, we like Matt Beatty, but two, I like it because he provides a better at bat quality in a tough spot, in these pinch hit spots. We've seen it. He doesn't have very much more big league experience over Gavbo, but we've seen him come through in the clutch. We've seen him get some big shots. He's a guy that can find some grass. He's a guy that can kind of play, a little bit of defense around, or if you need him at first, you can move Max to third or second, wherever you need that. And with Gavin, he's a second baseman. That's it. He adds no other versatility yet. So Dave did say today that this probably, this might not be 100%. He might come back for the next round, but as it stands right now, that's the big takeaway for Gavin. We needed somebody who's going to give us better at bat quality.
What did you think about them keeping Dylan? I mean, Alex Wood. That made a lot of sense to me. You got to probably take Alex Wood given the quality of his outings, I guess.
Yeah,
but what'd you feel about the Dylan Floro one? Because that one, I think of all things, that was the only one where I was like, oh, really? Okay, yeah. Floro.
Yeah, and to his credit, Dave Roberts said Floro was like, oh, really? Floro it too. Dylan was not very happy. Dave yesterday talked about tough decisions, tough conversations, and that is a tough one because if you're talking about having a team that's built on, or having a roster that's built on production, he's been nothing but productive for this team. He's gotten big outs, key outs all over the lineup, all over the opposing lineup, and for him to not be in there and seeing somebody who's been there before, Pedro Baez maybe didn't quite do enough to get that spot, but his name got him in there the same way. Jock Peterson's name gets him a lineup spot. We know what he can do in the postseason. We know what he's done, but Dylan, that hurts, man. He put in some really good work this season.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Dave Roberts even talked about him being a little bit upset about it, and I think that makes sense. Clint, we got a couple people saying you're a little quiet, so you're going to have to yell at the top of your lungs into the mic. I'm sorry, there's no other alternatives for you.
I can do this.
There you go. I did like putting Matt Beatty in there. I've been talking about having Matt Beatty on the team for the entire season. I didn't quite understand the moving him down just because he's never got the opportunity. He wasn't given the right opportunities. Even when he wasn't in the right positions. They just played him all wrong. And I think you're right. He does give you a better at-bat quality. More importantly, he puts the ball in play, which during a playoff series, that's all that really matters. You're not looking for guys that are going to go up hacking and go down on strikeouts. The Braves and Reds proved it today. You need to put the ball in play in order to win games. And Matt Beatty can do that for you. He has experience pitch hitting. He is the hitman. And if you're telling me, hey, you can have Gavin Lux come off the bench or you can have Matt Beatty come off the bench, 10 times out of 10, I'm having Matt Beatty come off the bench. I don't even care if it's during one of Gavin Lux's good seasons, which he's not having right now. I still prefer Matt Beatty coming off. But they do have a taxi squad. It is significantly larger than during the regular season. I think it's 10 guys, is it not?
The bubble squad has a lot of familiar names, and two you haven't seen. The two you haven't seen this year are Luke Raley and DJ Peters. We saw him in summer camp. We saw him in spring training, but there's familiar names like Alex Wood's on there, Mitch White, Scott Alexander's on there, Gavin Lux, Zach McKinstry. So add all those up. Those are the bodies. I don't know how many that is, but it's a
lot.
It's a pretty hefty taxi squad. But considering that this is supposed to be a bubble, I get it. You gotta have more bodies laying around in the bubble.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. So getting into the comments a little bit, we kind of jumped away from you guys a little bit. Let me jump back in. Hamill says, I wasn't surprised by the roster except for Floro. I think that's a pretty consistent theme, is everyone's kind of like, it all is pretty much what I expected, but I did expect Dylan Flora to be on there. It makes sense. We got a shout out from Tiago on YouTube that says Chris Paddock sucks. Thank you, Tiago. We appreciate that. We always appreciate that. Jumping down a little bit.
Mariah, I don't quite know how to say it, but they hope that they bring Floro back, and there's a good chance you make it past these lowly Brewers in this first series, and we hope that's not. Hopefully, I don't come to eat those words. It's whatever. This won't be a podcast, so it doesn't really matter. But
yeah,
hopefully, we don't come back to eat those words of just assuming we make it into the next round.
He does make sense for a 5-game series. In a 5 and 7 game series, you need a deeper bullpen. In a 3-game series where you only have 3 starting pitchers and you can move guys like hopefully Dustin May and Julio back to the bullpen and give you some innings, you don't need as much bullpen help. You don't need those guys that have played that role throughout the season. So expect to see a bigger bullpen, probably 13 guys, maybe who knows what they plan to do with it, but probably around 13 guys total. Who knows? But Flora will probably be back. Of all the names that are left off the list, he's the one that makes the most sense to be added back on.
Yeah, we'll see if the longer JT, even though JT says he's feeling fine, he's feeling healthy, that he can run, he can do any baseball plays, you still have to look at Terrence Gore and probably think that maybe this guy's here because they're worried about potentially having a Turner at first in a game game-winning situation or game-tying, whatever, a key situation, and if he can't score from first, that's a huge waste. So you're taking some steps there between the speed factor. A little shout out here, Tristan over on Facebook, my buddy. He says poor Kenta. How about that outing from Kenta and the Twins? And then just that whole series with the Twins, it really sucks to see Kenta and Rich Hill, also a Minnesota Twin, didn't get a chance to do anything. He was left off of this roster, the wild card roster, because they were looking at the division series. And once again, the AL's number 3 seed gets bounced. 18 straight losses. It really sucks for a couple former friends of the show there. But yeah.
You also got Ryu and Strickland getting bounced over against the Rays, unfortunately. Yeah. So a lot of former Dodgers pitchers, a lot of former Dodgers starting pitchers actually getting bounced today out of the playoffs, which is really unfortunate because Ryu has been so good. Maeda's been probably Cy Young worthy, if not for Shane Bieber. And then, Strickling's our friend and he's a good dude and we want the best for him, but unfortunately Blue Jays out. We'll have to see what happens with those guys next year.
We got Barca Ben over on YouTube saying Roberts makes dumb moves. I don't know how much the roster was his call. We know we've talked about it plenty about his in-game moves of recently. Listen to any of what the last you had Roberts rants in like 3 of the last episodes of the show. So
I tend to go that direction sometimes. But yeah, in terms of the roster, I liked what they did. They didn't do anything where I was like, what the hell, what are you doing? I like the starting lineup, even though it's more closer to your predicted starting lineup. It's still a very good starting lineup. And I don't really possibly see how you could have done any better than what they've done so far. Obviously, they haven't done anything because they haven't played a game. But I don't know. Feeling good about today. Feeling positive for the first time in a long time.
We got Logan Jones hopping in. I think he's messing with you here. He's looking at you. He says, "Is it too late to trade for Tim LeCastro for the postseason?" Yes.
I would much rather have Tim LeCastro than Terrence Gore. I'll tell you that right now.
Nice. He's a nice kid. Wait, where's your? Oh, we can't see your sticker. And don't move anything.
They can't see my sticker.
Or else the camera's gonna rock.
That's true.
The other news. Brewers lost. The guy we fluffed up. Everybody fluffed up big time. Devin Williams. They're nasty, like lights out. Shut up guy. Set up man to Josh Hader. Yeah, they lost Williams for this series, so now they're stretched even thinner. What was your takeaway? That immediate takeaway from that when that broke the internet?
When I first saw it, I thought I think Passan was the first guy that I saw had it out, and it looked. I thought it was a fake account. I thought it was somebody messing with me because I'm like, oh, that's pretty funny. They're really messing with Brewers fans today. And I was like, oh my God, it's real. That sucks, man. Yeah. I really feel for teams that go into playoffs with injuries to big guys or big players. Like as much as I don't like the Padres and I don't want them to win anything, I do feel for them going into a series without Clevenger and without Lamet. And not only that, but to find out like the day before that they weren't going to have either of them. Same
Yeah.
thing with the Brewers. They come into the series, they have really one hope that they're holding on to, and it's that solid bullpen, which is, I mean, let's call it what it is. It is a very good bullpen once you get down to it, but you take Williams out, and you're asking a lot of your pitching staff to go at least make it 3 games with a number 1 seed like the Dodgers, and with their lineup, that's a big ask. So we'll have to see how it goes, but so much rides on Suter today, going to the distance or going pretty far into the game at least. But he's also not gone far into games. So
yeah, he's got to get a little bit deeper into that game just to have any chance at survival. And with that, we can kind of dig into the starters here before we get into the lineup. I'll throw them up on the screen here, and you guys can still see our faces over them. We got Suter, left-handed pitcher, really small to read, but essentially a bullpen game for the Brew Crew. I guess you can't be surprised to see that out of Milwaukee, but left-handed pitcher. The last time these two matched up, last time he faced the Dodgers, he blew out his elbow.
Yep.
And so you got to figure this is something big for him. He really has this, riding on his back a whole bunch.
Yeah, and he's been significantly better as a starter than he has out of the bullpen this season. And it's not really saying much, given that he's still technically a reliever. He's just opening games up, really. But I mean, as a starter, 1.38 ERA with a much higher strikeout rate, a pretty low walk rate. He's got the whip under 1. That's kind of what you're looking for out of a starter. He throws a lot of fastballs. Like, he throws mostly fastballs. And the funny thing about him is that he averages like 85 miles an hour on his fastball, which is not something that you look at that and you're like, oh, the Dodgers are going to crush that. But also at the same time, that's low enough and slow enough to really throw off hitters. And you start mixing in some of those flamethrowers from the bullpen, guys like Hader, guys that can crank it up. You go from 85 to like 98, and all of a sudden you're behind and your rhythm's off and your timing's off. Then pinch hitters will play into that probably down the stretch after Suter comes out, but it's going to be interesting to see how they mix it up and how they change things. I think that my favorite matchup of the day is Edwin Rios against Suter. I didn't realize how good Rios has been against left-handed pitching because he hasn't got many opportunities against left-handed pitching, but he's got 3 of his home runs off of left-handed pitching. He hits. Everybody knows the power that he has, and it gets an 85-mile-an-hour fastball. You kind of have to provide a lot of that power to get the ball out. So that's the matchup of the day that I'm watching. I'm hoping that Edwin can crush a ball. I don't care if it goes out. I don't care if it lands somewhere. It doesn't matter. I think he's going to have a good day.
We know Big Daddy Rios can knock him anywhere. He can knock him out of any ballpark. Luckily, he'll be home. It's a hot evening over here in LA, so the ball is going to be traveling. I like that. We'll get into more of the lineup in a little bit. We also want to talk about predictions. So, guys, we have some stuff to scroll through later. Drop your predictions for the game, for the series, whatever you got. Give us your hot takes, and we'll get to those before we end the show in a little bit. We do want to end before the Laker game starts because we want to see the Lakers. We got to see the finals. Brooke wasn't even born the last time the Lakers were in the finals.
I was born in 2011.
And we're very proud of you for that one, bud. But other side of the ball, Walker Buehler, very, very small sample size to end the season. Dave has confidence. He has confidence in anything that he's going to throw, that being Walker. He's pitched, I think he only had like 6 or 7 innings over the last month plus. How are you feeling about Walker taking on these this version of the Brew Crew, which they all said? He said it last night. Kershaw said it today. Dave said it today. Barnes said it today. It's like, either way, these are still big league hitters. You still have Braun. You still have Christian Yelich, who was an MVP in 2018 and could or should have won it in 2019. How do you feel about Buehler?
Yeah, and another thing to remember too is it is the playoffs, and the playoffs are really a second season, and it doesn't matter what you did in the regular season. It doesn't matter how you perform. This is a new ball game. Your stats are reset for the season. Oh, yeah. It is an entirely different animal, and we've seen it around the league already. Guys who have struggled are suddenly breaking out during the playoffs, and guys who have been really good during the season are looking like crap during the playoffs. So I mean, you got to go into this with a fresh mindset of saying, hey, we're facing Christian Yelich, the guy that can hit the hell out of the ball. Hey, we're facing Ryan Braun, the guy who stole an MVP from Matt Kemp. Hey, we're facing a team that can hit the ball historically. They just have not over the last 60 games. So it's the same mindset of facing a good team. They're still big league hitters, like they said. I think, first of all, I need to know what shoes that Walker Buehler is wearing for today's game. If he doesn't break out those custom Jordans again, then who knows what kind of game he has.
He said he was just going to wear them the one time, and that they felt a little uncomfortable pitching in. So
see, he needs that discomfort. That's the same game as when Jordan wore the original Jordan 1s and they were too tight on his feet and he dropped like 60 points or whatever he did that game. It's the same concept, man.
Takes his mind off the blister, huh?
Exactly. You start thinking about the blisters on your feet and you forget about the one on your finger. I mean, no, I liked him in that last start. We talked about it a lot, but the fact that when the blister was an issue, he was pumping the fastball a lot. And when you're pumping the fastball a lot, it's a lot easier on your finger. It takes a lot of the stress off of your index or your middle finger. You don't think about it as much because your goal is really just to stay on top of it, and that's it. With the curveball, you're putting all of the stress on that blister. You're putting all of your stress on that finger. So the fact that during the last start that he was able to throw it so much and with pretty good success a lot of times, his slider wasn't as sharp, but his curveball had a lot of movement to it, looked really good, got some outs with it, got a lot of whiffs with it. I think that was the most encouraging thing for me. And, I mean, add in the fact that it's Walker Buehler. He shows up in big games. He shows up in big moments. He tends to rise to the occasion, and I feel good about him today.
So does that mean he's going to get blown out, or?
Yeah, he'll probably have like 6 home runs in the first inning. It's fine.
I don't know how your magic powers work for that.
Yeah, I got some weird witchcraft going on, but I will say the thing that I do worry about is the fact that he throws so hard and the ball's probably going to carry a lot today. Little dangerous of combination for Dodger Stadium, but he's just got to get some swing and miss. That's all I'm looking for.
No walks, keep people off the base. If you give up a few solo jacks, the Dodgers have more than enough power to get back into it. And with that, let's dig into a few more comments before we get into the lineups and say sayonara to y'all. I'm seeing a lot of predictions for the game. We'll save those for after the lineups, or do you want to do them now? You want to do our predictions before lineups?
Let's do our predictions before lineups. We got a couple people jumping in here with a bunch of them early on, and I don't want to lose them. Norma on YouTube says Dodgers win 3-1. She also thinks that the Dodgers sweep the series, which is good. Hatfield over on Facebook, 6-3 final score Dodgers. Katie says she's hoping for a blowout, but it'll probably end up being a 1 or 2 run game. I feel that. I definitely feel that. It seems like it's destined to happen. Got a couple people predicting Lakers scores too. Appreciate that. Thank you guys. Clint Rivers over on Facebook, 7-1 Dodgers final. Yeah, I mean, the good news is I don't see anybody who says the Dodgers lose tonight, so that's encouraging.
I mean, that might be just a little biased because we are a Dodgers show here.
We are?
Allegedly, they say, just allegedly. We got Booge over on Periscope saying Funky Muncie going yard twice tonight. There you go. There's another thing, guys. Drop your picks to click. I would not be surprised to see Marcus Lynn Betts drop his first homer as a postseason Dodger. So mark that one somewhere. If I had a button, I'd push the coin, but I don't have a button. Katie says she's hoping for a blowout, but it's probably going to end up being like a pitcher's duel 1-2 game. So, that's I think you guys are probably going to be somewhere locked in on that. This is the expectations versus the reality of it, or something like that.
Well, listen. Lisa Logan Jones over on YouTube says Matt Latos will hit a home run. That's a good throwback for the Dodgers, Matt Latos.
That's a Roach comment right there, if I ever heard
That's
one.
a very Roach comment if I've ever seen one.
Our buddy Doug McCain, of course, Doug will be on right after the game, the same spot you're watching this show. You could watch Doug right after the ball game on any of the Dodgers Nation platforms. Our post-game show host, Doug is hoping for a happy post-game, a pair of happy post-games in a row. He's saying Dodgers in Game 1, 5-2, Dodgers 8-3 in Game 2, Game 1, and then Game 2. So there won't be a need for a Game 3, and we could have a regular life on Friday.
That'd be great. We could just hang out on Friday and
lounge.
I think there's a Laker game on Friday, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
Probably. I don't know.
Something like that.
There's too much going on in the playoff schedules for me to pay attention anymore, guys.
8 games today?
8 games today. All of the teams decided to play today. MLB really
They'd be
really
wildin'.
getting fans by having the best game of the day start at 9:00 a.m.
Yeah, for real. And by the way, we also point out, because a number of people pointed out in the comments, knowing us, the Padres did lose. So, in the immortal words of Margaret Thatcher, suck on that, San Diego.
Her words, not ours.
Yeah, we're just, you know.
We didn't mean to be offensive, but Margaret Thatcher.
Logan asked what I'm making us for dinner. I got pizza to reheat. We got Rio's out here in Pico, so represent. Not a sponsor. That's all I got.
It's pretty good.
Any more?
You want?
We got somebody from Nicaragua here. Man,
I told you, man. We are worldwide. I don't know when that happened, but we became worldwide.
Norma's
known around the globe.
Norma's calling the JT Homer. We got Kim saying Muncie and Pollock. Santiago. Pollock's gonna go 3 for 4. Tammy doesn't know if 2 days off is good. I think for this team, for these Dodgers, it's not that big of a deal. They've been there. They've been through a lot. There is a group of veterans. Katie's also saying Seager goes yard tonight. I like that call. Pat Dwyer saying Buehler will be fired tonight and motivated to outdo Trevor Bauer. Did you see that Bauer outing tonight or this afternoon? Killed it. Crushed the game.
Disgusting, man. It was disgusting. He had those Braves off balance all day.
Hatfield saying AJ and Mookie go yard. We got Ellen saying I ended up unsubscribing. Thanks for hanging out. Who said milk was a bad choice because it's hot.
It is hot. Yeah.
All right, so lineups. We got lineups. Let me find my Dodgers lineup. I didn't get the Brewers lineup up here. It's we don't even know who's really on the Brewers. Let's be realistic. But the Dodgers throwing it up on the side. I was one flip off, but just 2 spots, 1 spot off in my lineup from calling it on Monday. So bow before me.
Yeah, you are the king. We owe you our gratitude.
And I was on the fence about going with Pollock in that 7 hole over Taylor in the 9 hole and all that. So it's a good looking lineup. Feels like an understatement.
Yeah, they're still sticking with Max in that. I don't know, man. Whatever, they're putting him still up near the top. He can absolutely run into one. And strangely enough, against a soft throwing left-handed pitcher, I kind of feel good about Max's chances today. I do like the fact that he's following JT. I just feel comfortable when he's hitting behind JT for no real reason other than it just feels right. I don't really know what else to tell you. I love Will Smith batting near the top of the lineup again. Will Smith, dude. I mean, the fact that they are making moves just to get his bat in the lineup should tell you everything that you need to know about Will. So I'm excited for that. I did think that Pollock in that spot rather than the 9 hole was the better move. No offense to your lineup at all.
I get you.
No offense to it at all. But I think Chris Taylor turns over the lineup better. Just think about what kind of lineup you have when you have a guy who's been probably one of the top 5 hitters on the team, maybe even top 3 hitters on the team, I would argue, batting 9th.
Yeah. The old second leadoff batter situation, and now all of a sudden you have Mookie coming up with later in the game with more opportunities to drive in runs. Seager gets another opportunity to move some guys in, move some guys over. It's a phenomenal lineup, and it's crazy. I mean, obviously we could talk about what Mookie brings to the lineup because having that difference maker plug in at the top. Because now you have your guy that was batting leadoff for you a few years ago, and the team we consider the best team in Dodgers history, at least our history. Now he's batting 9th, which is pretty absurd, but a real difference maker and just a real whatever the opposite of a heel shift is or heel turn is here. We're excited to see AJ Pollock in the lineup right now.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of weird backwards ass playoff is this? To where we're looking at the lineup and we're like, man, I wish AJ Pollock was hitting higher. He's just so good. I just want him near the top of the lineup at all times. I think it's pretty funny that how much things have changed from last year when he I don't know how many strikeouts he had in the playoffs last year, man. I don't know if it was like 11 strikeouts or something like that, but he looked atrocious in the playoffs last year. So for him to change his narrative, to change the story, to change fans' opinions of him has really been, we already talked about it this week, but probably story of the year for us, for the Dodgers. And I'm excited. I'm excited about Dodgers playoffs, and I'm
Hmm.
never excited about Dodgers playoffs, man.
You're never
Ever.
excited about anything, man.
I'm never excited.
Over on YouTube, Noel, that is KN Owl. There's a space, so I don't know if it's Noel or Kn Owl. Anyways, they say lineup looks lethal, and he would be right. That is a very lethal looking lineup because at the bottom, you have Buehler all of a sudden pitching, and it's incredible. Hamill says his playoff bracket went to trash way too soon, which I get. Base Lord giving us some love, saying we have a great show. Appreciate you, man. If I had
Thank
the
you.
button, I would be giving you some coins. Katie
And
agrees.
clap.
Maybe the clap. Katie agrees. It's a very scary lineup. My God. Alex says, "Let's give the Brewers some love." You did give the Brewers some love on Monday. You gave the Brewers some
I,
love to a Milwaukee radio host who was trashing them.
and he wouldn't
He
accept
would
it. He
not.
wouldn't take it from me. He's like, no, 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 they're bad. I don't know what else to tell you. They suck. I'm like, all right, man. I guess I'll be the Brewers radio host from now on. Jeez. No, I
Do you
mean,
guys pay in money?
yeah, to be realistic about your team is one thing, but to just start talking about the Packers, that's a whole other thing entirely. We'll have to see, man. Like I said, the playoffs are an entirely different animal. It's a new
Yeah.
season.
It's
Forget all of the numbers from the regular season. That's all I gotta say.
it's a different looking but also very similar looking Brewers lineup. The Brewers were potentially one clean fielded ground ball away from making it to play us last year. They're a good team. They're still a playoff contending team. Sure, they are hurt, and it sucks to suck, but like I said, you still have Yelich who can get the job done. Orlando Arcia has probably been their most consistent hitter. Looking at Jed Jerko batting third in their lineup, former Dodger, our friend of the show, not actually,
So he's
but
he's guaranteed to
oh
go
yeah, he's
deep,
going
right?
yard.
That's it's a
Yeah,
guarantee. There's
I'm
no way he
calling.
doesn't tear apart the Dodgers in
I'm
series.
calling yard on Kirsch tomorrow. So
Oh yeah,
everybody flash
easily.
back to that tomorrow when we pregame it. He's going yard then. Mookie's taking some hacks in the cage right now on ESPN, so that's a good looking feeling. Seeing him in blue, seeing them ugly. Ooh, he didn't. That wasn't a good looking hit, Mookie. All right, we're gonna lose. No. Uh,
That's it.
what was I talking about? I had another thing, but then I got distracted by shiny blue colors. I was talking about a person, but whatever. Oh,
Playoffs.
the playoffs. That team. The other guy, Vogelbach, just straight slug and sit. That's all he is. It's like if he's a white big poppy, and maybe 20% is good.
He's the guy in slow pitch softball that hits it out and doesn't touch first base because there's no point. It's already gone. Just sit down.
I would so do that if I could hit homers in softball.
Me too.
Oh man. Let's see. Let's end pretty quick here on Javi. Javi says, "Who's the David Freese or Chase Utley of this team?" It's a good question. We haven't really. Wow, that's a great question. We haven't had something like that. Who is your current Freezer, Utley, maybe even Russell Martin type? I think Russ was having more fun last year than anything else. But
Before I answer, I think we have a Brewer fan in the chat. Matthew says something about Kershaw taking him deep after Arcia hits it to Long Beach. Well, guess what, dude? That's a foul ball at Dodger Stadium. So you got to learn your geography, bud.
proud of
Anyways,
that guy.
if I'm talking about the Chase Utley, Russell Martin, David Freese types, low key, it's kind of become Justin Turner and Clayton Kershaw. Like you talk about some of the younger pitchers, and they're like, yeah, I've been like Dustin May and Tony Gonsolin. Those are both guys that even Walker, who've been like, yeah, I've been asking Kershaw stuff about playoffs. I've been asking him about, hey, you've faced this guy several times. Whatever, what works on him, what doesn't, what have you seen from him? So I think kind of just because they're the only older guys left, they've kind of just become those guys, whether it be by choice or not. JT's always the team leader. He's always going to be that guy as long as he's here. So that's an easy default.
I'll take it. I'm going that way as well. It's a JT for me. Usually you don't have him starting. They're kind of bench guys who can do a bunch of stuff, but JT's just a different animal. And now he's in his environment. He's really in his environment in the postseason. He talked about where he kind of gets locked in. So there's a whole bunch of great new stuff we have. We're humping. We're working our ass off over on DodgersNation.com. So make sure you check out all the goodies there. Tell grandma, tell the kids. Just check it on a bunch of different browsers. and then we'll see you tomorrow, I guess. Final
Yeah.
thoughts before we bail and go watch Lake Show?
Yeah. I'm worried about the Lakers more than I am about the Dodgers, so
Ooh. Well,
that's all I got to say about that.
Well, guys, that was the first one of these. Hopefully it wasn't the worst thing you've ever seen. Hopefully it wasn't the best thing you've ever seen, because we can do a little bit better, and hopefully tomorrow will be a little bit better. Make sure you tune in after tonight's game. Doug McCain will be going live on DN post game. Make sure you check out his podcast. That's Dodgers Dugout. That's DOUGOUT, because it's his name, and Gary was very proud of coming up with that name after we left Los California's Tacos. I missed that place. Make sure you tell it hi for me, Brooke, because I haven't been there in a while.
I'll wave as I pass by.
Either way, again, we won't be making this a podcast, but we should be here for just about every pregame throughout the playoffs. Hopefully it's more than just 2 or 3 or 5 games this year, because that would be the sad. But if you want to hear more of us, subscribe to Blue Heaven. We're on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, Player FM, Pandora. What's the other one? Amazon Music. Yeah, that's them are the lyrics.
It's really good. We're proud of you. Go Lakers. Go Dodgers. We'll see you guys after the game. Well, not us, but Doug will.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Bye.